Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart, and this time we get a chance to check the 135 scale kit. And for some of you it might be familiar because this is already I don't know how what's the number of this variant, but we get another version of this three-wheeled vehicle, and this time we get a delivery truck. So as you can see, it's so-called Hochlader Pritsche. So we have here the vehicle Tempo E400 with this rear covered section, and as far as you can see here, it is supplied in such a military color. I'm not sure if it is actually the military version, but here we have some guns, so I guess it is. And of course we have a commercial sample, so it means this kit number 35371, it's a final shape of this model, and you will get exactly the same stuff, nothing will change, and it's actually the final shape of all of the items included. So first of all, I have to note that the box size stayed the same. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have a nice box art here, so it's, I would say, at the same level of quality as the previous releases. And here you can see some safety information and address of the manufacturer, and also barcode, while on the opposite side we can see four marking options, and all of them are in different colors. We also have here a small logo of cartograph and the decals map, if we can say so. So it's a top opening box, and here's what we have inside. So as in other Miniart kits, we have all parts packed or sealed into one plastic bag. So I will have to cut through it, and then we will start checking the parts together. But in the meantime, I can remind you that I've also assembled this kit, not this version, but this kit with open rear section, and you can find it in our YouTube channel. I can say that it was really interesting project to work on, so that's why it's worth seeing it in action, because I basically recorded all of the assembly steps and you can see it with your own eyes. Maybe it will help you to decide whether you need this kit or not. Okay, next we start with this small envelope with Miniart logo. So usually they pack P parts here and some bonuses, but here I can see that we also get the, we only get the P fret. So just give me a moment. So here it is, it's unpainted P fret. You can also notice that here we have this logo table or template, which might be handy in case you plan to place your vehicle on the stand or maybe on some special diorama base. So it will be handy. Note that also the front grille is supplied in form of P parts, which is also notable because on such tiny vehicle, well, you cannot replicate this with help of plastic parts. That's why you have to use the P parts instead. And next we continue with the first gray plastic sprue. So this one is actually the new one, because here we get this top cover for the rear section. As you can see, it is molded as a single piece part. It means that you do not have to combine any separate panels together, and I would say it looks convincing. It will benefit from some pre-shading, because as you can see we have some I would say shapes which should be a bit more prominent with help of painting and shading. We also get the front wooden wall, which is molded as a single piece part. There is no wooden texture as far as you can see, and if we flip it over, here we have the internal features, while on the tent or on the tarp, as you can see here, we have some push marks. So in case you would like to show what is inside, you'll have to fill in these push marks in each of the corners, but I don't think it's a difficult task to do. Next, we continue with this bonnet. So for the bonnet, it's really cool that it's molded as a single piece part on one attachment point, as you can see. As you remember, we have the front grille molded or actually made as a P part, and here you can see this element from inside. So why it is good that it's supplied as a one piece part? Because you can also open the bonnet on the vehicle, and it looks just like on the real car, because on the real car it was also a single piece lifting up. And this way you won't have any ugly seams and gaps. So it's really cool thing to have in this size of the model. Okay, so let's move it to the side, because next we continue with decals. These were packed together with a clear part, so if I bring it closer you can see that printing quality is really nice. And for the interior, I'm just trying to find the dials. Well, there is one dial here for the speedo, but I guess that's pretty much all. Frankly speaking, I don't remember how many of the decals were used on my vehicle, but somehow I think it was more, so I again recommend to check the video. So here we continue with the clear parts. As you can see, we have all the necessary windows for the front cap. We also get the lenses for the headlamps, and all of these parts look nice. But as usual, Miniart does not include any masks or masking templates, so in case you would like to get the nice paint finish, you have to get your own masks or masking templates. Next we have the sprue EC. So here, if I zoom out, you can see that we have the parts for the rear section, we have even the wheel fenders here. So all of these panels are quite easy to combine together, and moreover you can open one of the, I would say, side panels. And here in our case we will be able to open the rear one, but still it looks rather nice. Here we have also the chassis parts, and here you can check these parts from the opposite side. Note that all attachment points are quite thin, so I don't think it will be problematic to get all of these parts off the frames, but still you have to be careful while combining them together, especially considering that we have the separate one-piece tarpaulin. Next we continue with parts for the rear wheel axle. So here I will zoom in a bit. So as you can see, we have all of the main bars which should be combined together, but that's not all, because Miniart also offers a, let's say, professional option for the assembly, where you can also replicate brake lines with help of the metal wire. Obviously metal wire is not included, you will have to source it, but still it's a nice opportunity to get more features in such a tiny model. And by the way, again, I did it in my build, so you can see what result you're actually getting with this change. Next we continue with the front cap parts. So this is the roof panels, and I'm a bit confused why we get two of them, so we will have to check the assembly manual. This is the rear wall. As you can see, we have the cutout for the rear glass, and also we have the supports for the interior or for the front cap, and of course inside we get some push marks, so be sure to fill them in case you plan to open the door. But frankly speaking, I did not do so on my vehicle, on my build, and it still looked fine in my opinion. It's not that visible thanks to the size. Next we have the sprue BA. So here, if I zoom out a bit, maybe close the lenses so that it won't be that bright for you, we have also parts for the front cap. We also get some interior elements. Note that doors are molded separately, and also door cards are here. And also we get some pre-molded features for the engine bay on this vehicle, which is also quite nice, but it will require some, I would say, sharp brush skills, because otherwise it will be nearly impossible to paint it properly. And if you flip it over, here inside you can see that we also get some interior features as well, and here as well. So again, check your reference photos in case you would like to get a nice paintwork in the, let's say, cockpit of this car. Then definitely it's better to check some photos, and there are plenty available, so I don't think it will be a difficult thing to find one. And the last gray plastic sprue, here we have the sprue B. So this one is notable because we get the plastic wheels, and this is really nice because you will be able to get a bit more convincing finish. And if I zoom in, you can see that even though those are standard plastic parts, we still get some features on the tire walls, and overall tire details, they look really nice. It's just a matter of painting them properly. And again, the masking templates are not supplied here, so you have to do everything with your own hands. And as you can see, the central section of the rim is molded together with the tire wall, so it might be a bit tricky. And if you wonder where this tire wall goes, on the opposite side, as you can see here. But again, we have two types of the wheel rims. We also get a lot of parts for the engine, so it should be quite detailed. And again, you will be also getting the option to replicate a bit more features with help of metal wire. And with metal wire, it might be a bit tricky, so think twice before you start it. But I think the final result is absolutely worth it, so in case you're confident in your own hands, then definitely go for it. And now I will have to close the lenses a bit because we have assembly manual. This one is printed in form of a small brochure, color printed. We have short list of the features here. And next we continue with the parts map. Assembly process starts with the front cap. As you can see, a lot of things going inside actually. So that's why it's important to plan your, let's say, painting strategy in advance, because otherwise it might be tricky to get to some elements. Next we continue with the doors assembly. So here you have the choice to open or close any of the doors, not each, but any. You can even open both. Next we continue with the rear wheel axle, and here you can see what I was talking about. So we can add the brake lines. They will be held in place with help of these PE clamps, which are standard, they are not extras. And next we continue with assembly of the rear section of this truck, tiny truck. And as you can see, again, a lot of P parts are being deployed here and there. Even for the locks, I think you will have to use the P parts. Here we start assembly of the engine, and straight away you can see these metal wires for fine features. Again, I will repeat that it's worth using them, especially if you plan to open the bonnet on your vehicle. Next we continue with installing the wheel on this engine sub-assembly. By the way, exhaust is also another thing where you can play with weathering technique, because it's usually heavily rusted on the real cars. Here you can see some of the control lines which are attached to the floor of the vehicle, also noticeable on the finished car, so that's why it's worth checking it. And next we continue with some options which are specific for the marking option 3 and 4. We also install the grille here. And next we continue with side view mirrors, which are also employing the PE clamps, and also the headlamps here, as well as this top section of the tarpaulin. And note that the belts are actually copied with PE parts, 12 of them, so sounds like a fun task to do. Next we continue with two marking options. So here we have white and blue vehicles. This one also features the Junkers logo. And next we continue with two more marking options. So this one is from 1944 and this one is from 1942. As you can see, it's from flak unit, so it's a military vehicle, as well as this one. So might be interesting thing to combine with the flag in 1/35 scale in case you have such kit. So overall we get a nice, I would say, view or alternative on this Tempo E400 3-wheeler. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.